And I'm going to say good evening to everybody and just let people know there's a bad storm where I am. So if the power goes out, then Sylvia and I will reschedule. But we like to be women of our word. How you doing, Sylvia?
Good. How are you doing today?
Doing good. I am very, very blessed. So
Good.
got a lot happening over here over um, on the money lady mortgage side. How about you? You've had some really good wins recently.
Yeah, I got some deals under contract. One's closing July 30th, so just trying to get through the inspection period, and the other one's gonna close sometime in August.
Yeah, so you've got your hands full, but you're a great agent, and I always like to introduce people that I know to great people like you who can help them. So why don't we just jump right in? Tell everybody a little bit about yourself. We know that you are a realtor. What areas do you serve? And just kind of give people, high level information with regards to you.
Yeah. I'm from the King George area, King George, Virginia area. I service Fredericksburg, and Nova. So I kind of go all over the place within like an hour and a half, 2 hours. Um, a little bit about myself outside of real estate. I'm a committed aunt, so I help raise my my two nieces and my one nephew.
hmm that is great. And you're a member of the community. I see you posting a lot as well, which is a great thing. I do want to let people know though, even if you are not in Sylvia's area where she assists people, the information we're going to talk tonight about are general principles. So you can always contact Sylvia and say, hey, I really like you, but I'm not in your area. Can you refer someone to me? And Sylvia has a network of agents nationwide who are able to assist you if she personally cannot assist you. Um, and I'm the money lady. So, hello to everybody. And I help you actually get the money you need to purchase your home. So, whether it is a primary home or whether it's a second home, investment property, I work with a lot of entrepreneurs and investors. However, I do love my first time home buyers. Whether you are in the military and you need a VA loan or you are a person who just needs a conventional loan, I'm here to kind of guide you every step of the way. So, with that, what I'm going to do tonight is kind of interview Sylvia for a little bit, get her thoughts with regards to real estate and how people who are first time home buyers should think about the buying process. We're going to talk about some of the mistakes that people make when they are first time home buyers. And if we have time, I have a couple of little slides to show people, but we will see about that. So, when Sylvia and I start talking, then magic happens. So Sylvia, um, when somebody is thinking of becoming a first-time home buyer, what are some of the questions that they should ask themselves in order to figure out if they are ready or not ready to purchase? Like, what are some of the things if someone were to call you and ask you that question?
Um, the biggest thing is they want to know their monthly payment. They want to know the breakdown of what they're getting into.
Mm-hmm.
Just because renting and buying are completely separate, there's different things that come into buying with insurance, interest, different things like that. So that would be number one on my list.
Mm-hmm. Is figuring out the monthly payment, which that's one of the things that we do. And that's one of the questions that I always ask people whenever I have a consultation with people is, do you have a targeted number that you want to stay within with regards to your monthly payments? And most people will have an idea of like, hey, I don't want to go above 2,500 a month or 3,000 a month. Or earlier today, I was speaking to somebody who said 5,000 a month because she's in the Northern Virginia area. So it's important, especially with this interest rate environment that we're in, that you make sure that you're comfortable with the payments that you're going to have, the monthly outlay of payments. So, what else are people, what else do you encourage people to think about as first-time home buyers if they're going to decide whether or not they want to even begin this process?
Another thing I warn them of is just the fact when you rent, you can just call your landlord to be like, hey, my fridge isn't working. Can you come take a look?
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to being a homeowner, it's really on yourself to kind of figure that out. Sometimes there's warranties in place, extended warranties, different things of the fact. But if you don't have that, you have to come up with the cash to have it looked at or to get that replaced, which sometimes can end up being, you know, pretty costly when it comes to owning your home.
Mm-hmm. Whenever I talk to people initially about that, I always encourage people not to use all of their cash, all of their savings in order to get into the house, if possible. I always try to leave people with enough of a buffer because when you get into that house, there'll be invariably things that you want to do within the house. You know, even if it's move-in ready, there's always things that need to be purchased, even if it's like curtains or, you got
True.
to buy a vacuum cleaner. I will tell you, when I bought my house, I was shocked at how much the trash cans cost, like the outside trash cans, in order to, yeah, like people don't think about that. And I didn't think about it until I had to go to Home Depot and buy two trash cans. This was before we got our free trash cans through the quote unquote free through the service that we use now. But in 2018, those big trash cans outside were $60 a piece, and I had to buy two of them. You will spend your time in Home Depot or Lowe's, like going through the aisles and purchasing stuff in order to, get started, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And you are right about the repairs as well. Uh, there was I don't know if you know about this, Sylvia. There was a oh my goodness, there was a rule of thumb with regards to how much you should put aside on a monthly basis for to reserve for repairs, because something, always does happen at some point. I don't know if you know what that rule of thumb is, but there was a certain percentage of the house value or something like that. Okay.
No.
I mean, I personally say like always have at least $2,000 on the side for repairs for your home, whether it is, I'm going to say this like this, whether it is in a savings account or it's on a credit card or something. Because I think about what's the most expensive thing that I could need repaired in my house where I would need the person to come out within 24 hours. And it's anything to do with plumbing, anything to do with the AC right now, the heat in the winter time, the hot water heater. And I kind of, will look around like, okay, well, what's the, if something happened to the water heater, how much would it cost me to get that replaced? And like I would want to have at least that available at all times. Um, have you heard anything else with regards to like how other people handle that, Sylvia?
No, I haven't. But I think that's a good idea, having at least 2,000 put aside.
Mhm.
That gives you a little, something to get what you need.
Yeah, a little wiggle room.
Yeah.
Yeah. What other questions should people ask with regards to, hey, I want to buy my first house, what are the
Yeah,
things?
it's really what they want in their house. Buying their first place is a big step, whether it's you want to say their first home isn't their forever home. It's one that they can kind of just get in and kind of get their feet wet as a homeowner. Um,
Hmm.
but you want to find something that's still within their needs. So, like, what are you looking for in a home? Do you need a yard? Do you have pets? Are you a car person? Do you want a garage? Um, you know, are you potentially raising a family? How many bedrooms do you need? Just trying to figure out exactly what you're looking for in that home because that's something that you're committing to for a longer period than just renting.
Yeah. Where where you want your kids to go to school,
Yeah,
what kind of,
location.
yeah, like are there certain relatives that you want to like, hey, I need to be close to grandma and grandpa because babysitters,
Yes,
there are certain people, there used to be rules with regards to like how far away you could be from your work. Those have kind of at least from a lending point of view, they're not as prevalent anymore, fortunately, but you'll want to think like, Sylvia was saying about your commute and things like that. Also being comfortable as well. But I do have some clients, and Sylvia, you can let me know about some of your clients who are like, the first thing when I ask them, like, what are you thinking about a house? What do you want? They will say space.
yes.
They will say space, they will say acres. I had one guy tell me he wanted a man cave. Like if it did not have a basement that could be converted to a man cave, he was not interested. He's still looking for his house. He's got like a specific list of things that he's looking for. Um, for my mom and I, my mom wanted a garage and I wanted land. I wanted like acreage. But what are some of the things, Sylvia, that people tell you so we can give people ideas of some of the things that they
The
may want?
biggest thing is like you said, it's acreage. People want land, especially where I'm at, in the Fredericksburg, King George area. It's more common to have a little bit more acreage than it is like up north.
Hmm.
Um, I would say other than that, people want no HOA. They don't want to deal with, just the fact of following rules. And
Yeah.
down here, people like to shoot guns and kind of have like, their space to do what they want.
Hmm.
So if they don't have an HOA to be up their butt, then they love that. And then of course, no additional fees. Uh,
Yes.
I would say those are the two biggest things.
Hmm. What are some things that people say they don't want if they're like, either at the beginning of the process or as they go and start looking at houses? What are some of the things that you've heard people say like, no, I didn't realize that, but I don't want that.
Usually it's outdated like appliances, outdated like kitchens and bathrooms. And then again, the HOA. A lot of people are just really against the HOAs.
Hmm.
Um, some people are open to them, depending, of course, the location. If you're up north, I think it's a bit more common.
Yeah, if you're in Northern Virginia, it's going to be hard for you to find a property with no HOA.
Yeah, no, and down here in the Fredericksburg, Stafford, Spotsylvania areas, you can find places with no HOA and with land.
Hmm.
Um, you just got to find, the right fit.
Yeah. I do want to mention, because you had mentioned that people will go into a house and they'll see outdated appliances in an outdated home. There are loans out there called the 203K loan or the home style renovation loan, where you are able to get money not only to purchase the house, but to renovate the house as well. And those renovations can include everything from carpet, paint. You can change carpet into hardwood floors. You can get new appliances. You could fix the roof. You could do the landscaping. You could add walls. You could take walls away, things like that. So, if you find a fixer upper, I don't want you to be scared and think, oh my goodness, I don't have the money out of pocket to be able to actually renovate this house, because you do not have to do that. And you could still put down for simple numbers, let's say you could still put down 5%, for example, for a conventional loan, for that home style renovation loan. You'll put 5% down of the purchase price and the construction cost in order to get that property up to the way that you like it. So um, it's a great loan, great opportunity. There are people now who are selling fixer uppers. And I don't know how Sylvia feels about this or if she can say this. A lot of times people don't necessarily want to put offers on those properties. So you may be the only offer that they get, which means then that you've got some wiggle room and negotiation room with regards to getting seller help with closing costs and things like that. Tamika, great question. It is called, there are two loans. One is called the Home Style Renovation Loan. And the second one is called the 203K, as in kite loan. So the 203K loan is an FHA loan. Down payment is 3.5%. And the home style renovation loan are usually 5% down. I would have to check if we have any other options for lower down payment, but everyone I've worked with has been 5% down for that loan. But those are two options that are available for you. Thoughts with regards to people buying properties that need, you know, we're not saying structural issues and things like that. We're saying it, the kitchen needs to be redone, the bathroom has Pepto-Bismol paint, maybe, or it's just dated, things like that. What are some of your thoughts, Sylvia, with regards to that?
I mean, a lot of people, they show interest, but then once you explain, sometimes, costs can add up
Mm-hmm.
because you have to replace things, then get it ready for how you want it. Sometimes it's something that they're not interested in. I have one client that's particularly interested in one of these homes. So for the past couple months, we've been looking for one with a 203K loan. Um, we just found another one that we're going to get quotes on shortly. It's sitting on 10 acres and it's under 300,000 in the Spotsylvania area. And it's a
Yeah.
3 bedroom, 2 bath. Floor has some soft spots. House has mice. That was a fun experience. Um, but other than that, it's just getting someone out there, quoting what you want done, figuring out the cost and see if it works for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, so it's not for everybody. It's not for everybody. There are people who just want things in move-in condition and move-in ready. But there's this other side as well. One of the other things, Sylvia and I work with a gentleman called the House Hack King. His
Yeah.
name is Mike Weber, and he's an expert on house hacking. And you may end up with a situation where you want a house hack, meaning house hacking is basically that you either rent out the basement of your home or you rent out rooms within your home, and people pay you rent, and you're able to actually make money while you're living within that home. There are some people who choose these renovation loans in order to prepare their homes for house hacking. You don't always have to do that. There are some homes that already come prepared for house hacking, but that's another reason why sometimes people will choose to buy a fixer-upper, because again, you can add walls, take walls away, you can do certain things in order to set up the basement, for example, to be rented out, or there are people who live in the basement and will rent out the top floors, etc. So, Sylvia, what are your thoughts? Because Tamika says she wants the house hack. So, what are some of your thoughts with regards to house hacking?
In regards to house hacking, so I've never done it myself, but I think it's something that would be very fun to do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it gives you extra income. It's something that's very popular. Um, my boss, so my team lead, his name is Matt Magel. He bought a house with a basement that was, rented out, and I think he left it like that for a year or two.
Mm-hmm.
He made that additional income, and then later was able to, kind of finish the basement off how he wanted. Um, yeah, no, it's it's a great idea, and there's an endless of possibilities that you can do with house hacking.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. So we call tonight's session Five Mistakes First Time Home Buyers Make. I want you to tell me three mistakes from the realtor point of view that people make as first time home buyers, from your point of view.
I feel like people don't understand until they kind of get into it about credit that sometimes you can't make certain purchases or get new credit cards because that can cause issues with your loan. Another thing is not understanding all the purchases and everything that goes in with the loan.
Hmm.
Depending on where you're at, there's different inspections and they do cost money typically up front. Sometimes you can get them worked in with closing costs, but depending on what you're looking at, it could be like 500 to 1,000 for a home inspection, depending on the size. About $1,000 for a septic inspection.
Hmm.
If you're getting the well inspected and double checking water for like bacteria, that's around $600. So expenses do add up. So you do need some money up front.
Also
Um,
appraisal.
yeah, and appraisal.
Appraisal is about $700.
I would say that's the two biggest things.
Okay. So from a lending point of view, then I'll give people some mistakes that people make. So definitely um uh credit, but I will say it the opposite way. People think that their credit is too low to be able to afford a home. I've had people call me and say, I don't think I can buy a home. And I'll say, well, what do you think your credit is? And they will say, I don't know, 650. And I'm like, you can buy a home. You can. So, Sylvia, what is the lowest credit score that people can have and still be able to potentially purchase a home?
From my understanding, it's around 580.
580. That's right. So I said potentially buy a home and not 100%. The reason for that is just because you have a 580, it depends on, let's be real, why you have a 580. Were you late with your mortgage payments from your current home? Were you late recently, or is this something that you're, rebuilding your credit? Um, so there are certain instances where you could have a 580 and still be denied, but you are able to come to us. I pulled somebody's credit. I think it might have been one of your people, Sylvia, and she thought she had terrible credit. She thought she had terrible credit, and I said, oh, okay, so I reviewed her credit and everything, and I said, okay, let's get together in Zoom and talk about your pre-approval. And she said, are you telling me I'm not denied? I said, no, your credit is fine, right? So I just want people to be okay with, so we do a soft pull of people's credit. And there's a difference. Hard pull means you're going to all three credit bureaus, and people don't like that because it pulls down their credit score just a little bit, things like that. But we do a soft pull just so we can review it, see what your numbers are, and see what is on your credit, right? So that's one of the big mistakes, the opposite way. Um, Another mistake that people make is thinking that all pre-approval letters are the same. They're not the same. So, what do I mean by that? If you go to big box bank, for example, and you get, I'm not going to call any bank names out, but you can just think of whatever one, and you get a pre-approval letter, a couple of things will happen. Number one, that person typically is not there to answer your questions in the evenings or on weekends. So if you find a property you really like on a Saturday, and let's say you're working with Sylvia and you're pre-approved for, I don't know, $400,000, let's say. But Sylvia is like, hey, but between the two of you, you say, let's put an offer in for 360, right? Sylvia, do you want to send in a pre-approval that says 400,000 when your offer says 360?
No,
Why not? Why would you not want to do that?
because they know your buying potential.
Because they know your buying potential and they're going to raise the price, right? So I started off by saying mistake number two is that all pre-approvals are not the same. Well, if you can't get the person from Big Box Bank on email, on text message, anything like that to say, hey, can you revise my pre-approval letter? to say 360 because we're putting in an offer for 360, you may get to the point where when they open up again on Monday, there are already two offers on that property and one has already been accepted and you've lost out on that house. So that's one of the things that happens with pre-approvals. Um, Another mistake that people make is that um, they, uh, let's see here, they don't give themselves enough time to um, complete the process of actually purchasing a home. And what do I mean by that? Sylvia, you can let me know what you find, but I find that the minimum amount of time that people need to actually um, go from I have this thought of purchasing a home to actually having the keys in their hand, I would say minimum 3 months, preferably 4 to 6 months of like going through that process. Sylvia, what do you think with regards to that? What's the minimum amount of time?
Yeah, I would say about 3 to 4 months.
Yeah. 3 months is minimum. That's like if you're really, really on it, right?
Really on it, really
Um,
pressing to get a place.
I'm sorry.
But if you're really pressing to get a place,
Yes, yes. So, but I think 4 to 6 months is better because you won't be in a rush. So that way, if you do have anything with your credit, if you need to save, for example, a little bit more money for inspections and things like that, we can have that time for you. Um, so those were like three of the ones. I can go into like several more from the lending point of view. Um, One final one that people make. I haven't seen it made as much lately because I think that people are starting to learn this lesson is you are pre-approved, you buy a house, your offer is accepted, the underwriter has said yes, and then you quit your job before you get the keys, or you go out and buy a car, or you go to the furniture store and you apply for credit at the furniture store and you buy the new sofa that you like before you've gone to the closing table and before you get the keys. The reason for that is because a day or two before you close, the lender does a verification of employment again, and they will check your credit again to make sure you haven't pulled any new credit or bought anything. So we used to hear horror stories like that all the time. Fortunately, I prepare my clients for stuff like that. But the basic: don't do anything. Don't do anything until you get the keys in your hand and you know that everything is settled. And then you can go buy a car, you can go buy furniture, you can go do whatever you want after that. So
I can
it's,
say now that there's one other mistake that I've seen.
mm,
Um, I had a client. So when you get an inspection, it's okay to want to find someone that is cost effective,
mm-hmm,
but you want to be careful of who you're hiring. Because I had a client that wanted to go on the cheaper side versus someone I recommended.
mm-hmm,
And what ended up happening is the inspector also could do the well water test. And the well water test took over a month to actually get because first the lab was having a backup, then it
mm-hmm.
was hacked, then he had to send it off to another lab and it got lost on the way to that lab. So basically, who you hire matters. So it's okay to want to save money, but just do your
Mm-hmm.
research on quality.
Yeah, I agree with that. Um, that's with anything within this process. I work with a lot of investors, for example, and to save $200, I actually had an investor that uh, he's like, I've got you and I've got another lender, and the difference was a $4 a month payment, like $4 a month, you
But
know, and And I'm like, but can that other person close the loan for you is like the really big thing. So yes, when it comes to purchasing a home with it's like home inspection, for example, cheapest isn't necessarily the best. And you don't necessarily want somebody who's going to price gouge you. And we would never refer anybody like that who's going to price gouge you, but you also don't want somebody who's going to miss something big. So
Absolutely.
what I'd like to do, Sylvia, if you don't mind, I've got a couple of quick items to share with everybody, and you can chime in on these as well. This is 7 things to know about lending. I just kind of want to give people an overview about getting a loan because that's the thing that they're most concerned about oftentimes is can I get pre-approved and can I actually get the loan, right? So, some things you need to know job and income stability. Lenders love it when you have stable employment. However, that does not mean that if you started a new job 3 months ago, that we cannot approve you for a loan. The way that it works, though, is this is my joke. You don't want to go from being a chef to being an astronaut. The lender will never approve you if you've got a drastic change in your career. However, I had a woman who was a nurse and she went from being an RN at one hospital to an RN at another hospital a couple of months before she closed her loan. That's perfectly fine. Um, so job and income stability is important. The second thing, credit. We already talked about 580 plus. However, it also depends what is on your credit as well. If you own a house currently and you've been late on your mortgage within the past 12 months, sometimes that can be a huge issue. If you filed bankruptcy, depending on the loan program, it could be, sorry, depending on the bankruptcy type and the loan program, it could be um, as long as it's been discharged for 2 years or as long as it's been discharged for 4 years. So you'll have to come and ask me about that. But credit is an important thing to consider. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just is helpful if you've been like paying your bills steadily on time for the last 12 months. Okay. Number three is manageable debt and your debt to income ratio. So this is all lenders across the board. This is not just the money lady, right? The way that it works is for every $2 of income that you have, sorry, for every dollar of debt that you have, you need to have $2 of income. That's layman's terms how it works. Your debt is going to include all the things on your credit report. Plus, if you have any child support payments or alimony payments or anything like that, plus the money that you're going to be obligated to pay for the mortgage itself. So we're gonna add all those things together, and we're going to look at your income, and we're going to ask, do you have $2 of income for every $1 of debt? Now that's rough analysis of it. There are loan programs where you can be a little bit over that. But that's what we're looking at. Interest rates. Cheree, what rate am I getting? That depends on like 28 different factors. I will say this, it depends on your credit. It depends on the debt to income ratio. It depends on what's happening in the market. The market has been very, very volatile these days. So, right now the rates are about 6.875 to 7%. But, who knows what's going to happen with the rates? The best thing we can do with the rates is get a pre-approval for you, let you know what the rates are today, and then as you get an offer signed, then we will be able to get you locked in at that point. Okay. Monthly payments. So your monthly payments are going to include your principal, your interest, your taxes, your insurance, and any HOA or condo fees that you have. So when a lender is looking and asking, hey, what is the monthly payment that you're going to have for this house? Those are the items that are included. But as Sylvia said, those aren't the only items that you have with regards to home ownership. You also have utilities to pay, which some of you are paying utilities in your apartments now. You'll also have, for example, trash pickup. A lot of people who have apartments may not necessarily have to pay for trash pickup, but that's something, that you may not be expecting with home ownership. Any kind of repairs that need to be done. So, those are not things that lenders look at, but those are things you have to consider within your budget. Number 6 is down payment and down payment assistance. Down payments can be as low as 3%. It can be as low as 0% down if you are in the military or if you're a veteran or if you are buying with a USDA loan. USDA, though, here's something a lot of people don't know. You can use USDA loans to buy in the suburbs. A lot of people think USDA loans are just for rural areas. So that's something for you to think about. Uh, Down payment assistance programs, they are available. I have access to several down payment assistance programs. The one downside with the down payment assistance program, and Sylvia can back me up with this, if you are looking at a property and the seller has two different offers. One offer, the person is offering just a regular, 5% down payment conventional loan, and your offer includes a down payment assistance program. The seller is most likely going to choose the other person's offer. And the reason for that is because down payment assistance usually takes another 15 days to get approved. So the seller would be waiting more time for your loan to get approved than somebody else's. Now, down payment assistance program is great if you are putting offers on properties with no competition. So just kind of think about that with regards to your strategy. And a final thing to know about lending is closing cost. There's an acronym that I express to people and share with people. It's called Delta, like the airlines. So if you want to know how much money you have to bring to the closing table, you want to think Delta. D stands for down payment. E stands for escrow. L stands for lending fees. T stands for title fees. And A stands for appraisal. So again, down payment, escrow, lending fees, title fees, appraisal. And what we do with our clients is when you're looking at a property, after you've been pre-approved and you commit to working with us, when you look at a property, we'll let you know, like, okay, for this property, this is roughly going to be what your monthly payment is going to be. And this is roughly what you're going to be your closing cost. So that way, before you put an offer in with Sylvia or whatever local realtor you're using, like approximately what the costs are going to be, and you can make an educated decision. And in fact, Sylvia will contact me before she takes you out to look at that property to make sure that you're okay with the numbers. So Sylvia will text me, hey, we're taking mutual client X out. This is the property. Can we make sure it's okay? We do that all the time. We go back and forth all the time. So Sylvia, I'm going to put this back up on the screen here, but I want to know, do you have anything to say about any of these items that you've encountered as you're helping people purchase properties?
No, other than like how you already touched base, it's just figuring out their monthly payment and their closing cost and whether they have down payment assistance or not. But
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, as you kind of touch base on, even though there's down payment assistance programs, sometimes that's not their best option. Sometimes there's other loans that fit their needs a little bit better. So it's just finding out what fits their needs the best.
Correct. Correct. And this is where Sylvia and you, as the buyer, and I kind of talk about strategy as well, based on what you want, what you're looking for, what what you're unable to do, which is perfectly fine, and what, yeah, again, what you're looking for. Then we're able to put that strategy together, and that, for me, it's a mortgage plan. I put a mortgage plan together for my clients. So, um, other thoughts you have, Sylvia, with regards to first time home buying? Anything else you want to let people know?
You know, as much fun as it can be, it is stressful because it's buying your first place. It's a big change, but it's also a fun experience getting to look through houses, finding what fits you best. Um, just trying to see what you want to live in.
Yeah, yeah. I will say, from a wealth building point of view, home ownership has been the best decision, the best financial decision we've ever made. And it doesn't mean it's easy, all right? But it is worthwhile. It is worthwhile. And Matt, whom Sylvia works for and with, he was sharing a story about the fact that this woman had a daughter and the daughter got sick. And um, because she was able to sell, it was either her primary home or a home that she had. Can't remember which one. She was able to get the money in order to pay for her daughter's medical bills. And we as a team said, somebody else, I think, in our office said, imagine if she didn't have that asset in order to sell, then what would she have done and how would she have paid for the daughter's medical bills? So, um, it's a responsibility, but it's also an option with regards to being one of the foundations of your wealth building. So, Tamika's trying to come off mute. I think you're off mute, Tamika.
Yeah, I just, as soon as I sent that message, it showed me, I saw how I could do it. I'm on my cell phone and so yeah, it's a little difficult. But I don't want to interrupt you. It looks like it's only three people on, but
Yeah,
I
it's
don't know
okay.
if you got people heading or something, so I don't want to just
No, you're good. Go ahead, Tamika.
okay. So I came in a little late and so I saw this on Meetup and I was like, I didn't really read all of it, but I know I'm into wanting to get a home.
Mhm.
So I don't know if y'all did the introduction. I'm sure y'all probably know each other already, but
Yeah, we
I
do.
mean,
Yeah,
just to get
so
a background.
you registered for this, so I can contact you on the back end and learn a little bit more about you. Where are you looking to purchase?
I'm in Georgia, but I used to live in the Seven Roads area. Um, in Virginia, I lived in Virginia Beach.
Okay.
Um, and so I'm familiar with area. Would be nice to be able to. I really want to move back there, but I just know it's expensive. And
Hmm.
what I want to do is my I don't know if I'm gonna have to, but this is what I want to do. If I get a place where I'm living in it, because I want to be a real estate investor.
Okay.
So I'm not looking at a home just to be my forever home or just to look at. I'm looking at a home for, and I've trained myself this way to be an investment. And
Hmm.
I possibly will be living in it at first. So I am interested um, in all the different. I'm in the process of trying to figure out what loan products are out there. I haven't really got pre-approved because I have been working on the last couple of years of getting my credit straight.
Hmm.
As high as I wanted. I mean, this was six something before. It's higher than that now, but I know what I used to work in banking, so I know the lower the credit score, the higher the interest rate. So, you know, I didn't even bother to waste anybody's time, and
So
plus increasing
I
my
want to
income
comment
and
on
stuff like
that
that.
because it's I would suggest you not be scared by the interest rate itself because it also depends on the price point. So you may end up trying to increase your credit in order to save $20 to $30 a month,
Yeah,
depending on the price point that you're looking at. So, and then you would have lost out on all of that appreciation. If you're at six something, mid 600s, you would definitely qualify. It may be worth it for you to talk to somebody and just, know where you are today and then say, okay, but if I get my credit to, let's say, 720, what would be the difference with this price point in not only the rate, but the monthly payment?
yeah,
And if that monthly payment difference is $30, $40, then it may not be worth it to wait because you would be missing out. So if you wait the way that the market is going, when interest rates start going down, for every 1% that interest rates are going to go down, another 5 million people are going to enter the buying market. And when
yeah,
more buyers enter the market, the price of the house goes up. So that
yeah,
house that you could buy today, and I'm just going to throw out a number, you can get for $1,000 mortgage today, may cost you $1,200 because you've waited because today's interest rate difference with your credit was like $30, right? So
yeah.
this is where we kind of need to look at all the numbers and just make sure that you're making a solid decision.
Yeah, well, it also wasn't just that. It's
Mhm.
also the fact of I just didn't want the unnecessary debt because I know that, like you said earlier, you get the other fees, the other monthly expenses that they don't look at, but they don't go away because you have this mortgage payment, but you still have credit card payments, you still have a car payment, you still have, so you just adding on to it. So I didn't want the other credit card payments and stuff like that. I've paid that stuff off. I mean, it's actually out of 750, a little more than that now, but I didn't want to be bringing the other debt. So now where I'm at is just saving, trying to save and, um, just learning too, as well,
Mhm.
about things. So it's just finding realtors, finding, lenders, and just understanding as much about the process as I can. Because, like I said, the goal is not to just find this is not my forever home. It will
Mhm.
be a buy and hold. But, I want to be able to stay in a year if as much, if as far as the loan, be able to stay in a year and hopefully be able to do the process again the next year to
Mhm.
build up, um,
A
my portfolio.
portfolio. Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing I will say about the credit cards, and you still have to pay the credit cards after you purchase your home. I had a client who had to bring money to the closing table in order to pay off a credit card for his debt to income issue.
Yeah.
And he was able to use his retirement funds to do that.
Mm,
So, you know, um, sometimes you are able to be creative with regards to like setting your life up where uh, either you won't have as much monthly cash flow going out when you
mm-hmm,
purchase a home, or, sometimes people pay off all their debt and they can do it from using not only the cash and savings that they have, but also leveraging their 401k, which is, of course, tax free as well. So I don't think you should pay off $50,000 in debt, obviously, with this, but I've known people who have paid off $10,000 to $12,000, and they've had a lot of money in their 401k, and that was one of the ways that they were able to not have those extra bills when they bought their house. So,
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Yeah. So,
but,
well, good luck to you, Tamika.
well, thank you.
And thanks for finding us on Meetup. I don't know who put us on Meetup. Must have been one of our admins. So thanks so much to the person who did that.
Yeah,
Um,
no, I think it was Meetup. I have to go back and look. I think so. But
okay.
yeah,
Okay.
where are you all located? I'm sorry, I didn't get
Mhm. It's
like your
okay.
name and what you
Sure.
do.
We're in the Metro DC area. So I'm Cheree. Everybody calls me the
Okay.
money lady. And
Okay.
this is Sylvia.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. I did live not in DC, but in Maryland as well. I was like, I could walk to DC every day.
Okay. Yeah. So
Yeah.
were you in what, Temple Hills or
Chevy Chase.
Chevy Chase? Oh, I love that area. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's good. So, I actually live in Northern Maryland, and I work with the team down in the Metro DC area. So yeah, but we were saying initially that we have access to other agents as well that can assist you in your local area. So if you need a referral, let us know. I have access. I'm not licensed in Georgia, but
Hmm.
if you wanted to buy there, I have access to very good investor-friendly lenders that have that kind of a mindset when it comes to helping you actually buy that first house in order to build a portfolio. So you can connect with me as well. I'll be sending you an email
Okay.
sometime tomorrow, and then we can connect and I can find out what your needs are. Between Sylvia and I will be able to help you.
Absolutely.
All right, well, thank you so much. And if you can, in it, because I was not able to write down anything. So if you got those tidbits that you offered today, if you could
Yes.
put it in the email, that would be so awesome.
Yes. Well, this is being recorded, so it'll be rendered
Oh,
as
okay,
well.
great.
So you'll be able to hear the replay.
Great. Thank you so much.
You are welcome. Sylvia, last words for the evening.
Well, thank you for attending. I really appreciate it. Thank you for having
Yeah,
me.
Yeah,
thank
for
you.
asking great questions. Yeah. Anything else, Sylvia? Final
No,
comments about the topic?
no, it was a great session. Thank you.
How can people get in touch with you?
They can call or text me at 540-361-0065.
Okay, say that one more time for people.
540-361-0065.
Perfect. So, and as for me, I think that the only way to know if you are uh, qualified for home ownership is to start the pre-approval process. Let's create a mortgage plan for you. Let's see, if you're ready today, if you're going to be ready in 3 or 6 months, if you need a year, things like that. And, you know, jump in. So, my number, you can call or text 571 583 4600. I'll repeat that one more time 571 583 4600. Call or text that number, and we will look forward to helping anybody on their home buying journey. So, thanks, Sylvia. Thanks, Tamika, for being here. See everybody later. Take
Thank
care.
you. Bye bye.